and actually sustain the momentum?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can share my own story, right? So I first got into Bitcoin back in 2011, and at the time I had some programming skill. I basically grew up as a kid programming games for myself to play, and then I was also doing programming competitions and other things like challenges on the internet and so on. But then I still felt like the kind of programming I was doing and there was still a big gap between that and what it takes to actually build something in the real world. And I definitely have zero confidence I could bridge that gap, right? And so when I started, I did not start as a programmer, I started as a writer. And basically I was looking through the Bitcoin forum, I found someone who was willing to pay 5 Bitcoin, which back then was $4, for people to write articles for his website. And so I thought, okay, I'll try. And I wrote an article, and then there were other people who wrote. And actually what I discovered was that after 3 months, I was the only person who was still writing and who was still sending articles. Everyone else, their attention span drifted away and they gave up. And so I just kept doing it. And then 6 months later, I got an email from Mihai Alisiev, this Romanian person, who said he wants to start a new print magazine and he wants me to be the head writer. And so I was really amazed. I was amazed anyone would actually trust me to be a writer for a magazine. And so I said, okay, I'll do this. And then I think 6 months later we had a website. 1 year later we had the first print edition. And then that kept going for about 2.5 years. Then I also started doing more blockchain programming, actually, by doing bounties for the some edits to the colored coins code. And so basically small tasks, and then I did some tasks, and then they paid me about 10 Bitcoin, which back then already was worth $170. So and for me, I think I was still very happy to be paid, even if it's sometimes it's $170 for 1 month of work, but for me it's still more than I ever had before, right? And so I was happy, and I also got the confidence that wow, I can actually write code that other people value enough to pay me. And so I kept doing that, and then I started working for these projects, and eventually I was working for Colored Coins and Mastercoin. And the thing that I immediately started doing is I started identifying situations where they had 2 different features, where actually you could combine them with one feature that's a little bit more flexible that combines their functionality. And so I did this, and then after 2 weeks of doing this, I realized that the logical conclusion is to replace their entire protocol with a programming language. And so I sent this to them as an idea, and they said, well, no, this will take us more than 1 year before we can get to this in our roadmap. And I realized, wait, these people don't understand. And so I just then wrote a white paper, basically decided I would just do this myself, and wrote a white paper, sent it out to people, basically asked to try to see who would help. And I think the thing that made people take me seriously was that I had already been this writer for Bitcoin Magazine, and people knew that I had good writing, that I could actually understand technical subjects, and so people were actually willing to take this seriously and join and participate in the project. And then Ethereum started growing from there. Right? So I think there are many ways to get into a space, and I think the way is going to be different for every person. But to me, the first thing is definitely to try to get into the community at least in some way, right? And start doing at least a little bit of work of some kind that's actually contributing value to other people and where you get feedback. And then you learn, and then, or if you can't find specific other people to pay you, even just by yourself, you can do a blog, you can do educational content, you can do some kind of app, and then you keep advertising it on a forum. And also like be persistent, right? Like don't give up after 2 months. If you give up after 2 months, everyone forgets you. If you stay for 2 years, everyone remembers you, right? And if you stay for 10 years, then like almost guaranteed, like you run the community. So I think like that's how you start, and then you go from there.
So by like